It's now safe to say that the smartphone is the gateway to the outside world, especially considering the current global situation in mind. And a battery life on a device is more important than ever because a dead smartphone is as good as a mask on your chin. So, that is exactly what Xiaomi has done. It's packed in a bigger battery, and the phone is the Redmi 9 Power. You see, you get a 6000 mAh battery, which is the biggest I have seen on a Redmi smartphone. Now, while I unbox this device, a lot of you guys have asked me a couple of questions, which I will answer towards the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Hello everyone, I'm Aditya, you're watching Gadgets 360, and this is the full review of the Redmi 9 Power. Now, if you're new here, be sure you are subscribed to the Gadgets 360 YouTube channel and click on that bell icon so that you know when we upload a new video. Smartphones with big batteries are usually big and bulky, and that is one compromise that you usually make. So what Redmi has done with this smartphone is that it's managed to keep the weight under check. It's at 198 grams, which is slightly on the heavier side, but given you get a 6000 mAh battery, that's one compromise you'll have to make. The phone tips the scales at 198 grams, lighter than even the Redmi 9 Pro, which weighs 209 grams despite having a smaller battery. The Redmi 9 Power has a somewhat new design, and the back panel looks very different from the other smartphones in the Redmi 9 series. Be sure to watch our unboxing video to hear my thoughts on the design of this smartphone. The Redmi 9 Power has a 6.53-inch Full HD Plus resolution display, and there is Corning Gorilla Glass 3 for protection. Now, I enjoyed watching videos on the Redmi 9 Power, and the stereo speakers enhance the experience. There is support for Widevine L1, so you will be able to stream HD content on this device without any issues. While watching content indoors was engaging, I found the display brightness to be on the lower side when outdoors. I found the fingerprint scanner to be quick to unlock the device, never needing more than one attempt. You also get face recognition, which is easy to set up and quick to unlock the smartphone. The Redmi 9 Power features the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 SoC, which I have used in the Moto G9. You also get 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM coupled with either 64GB or 128GB of UFS 2.2 storage. The Redmi 9 Power ran quite well, and I did not have any issues with respect to performance, and switching apps was fairly quick as well thanks to the 4GB of RAM it has on board. Call of Duty Mobile ran fine on the Redmi 9 Power, but it does take some time to load. This phone could run the game at medium graphics quality and medium frame rate. It was playable at these settings, but the phone did get warm after playing for just 5 minutes. But after playing Call of Duty Mobile for around 20 minutes, I noticed a 5% drop in battery life. In terms of software, the Redmi 9 Power runs MIUI 12 on top of Android 10. It had the November Android security patch, which is acceptable. I've noticed that the phone recommends installing a lot of apps while setting it up. Even after skipping the suggestions, I found a fair amount of bloatware pre-installed, and spammy notifications continued to annoy me even on the Xiaomi phone. All the new changes in MIUI 12 are available on the Redmi 9 Power, and you can swipe down from the right of the screen quickly to access the quick toggles and from the left to see the notifications. This isn't enabled by default. Other features such as Game Turbo and Ultra Battery Saver are also available on the Redmi 9 Power. With a bigger battery, you get to stay away from the charger for longer. I got about a day and a half worth of battery life out of this particular smartphone, and there is an option to extend it further using the Ultra Battery Saver mode. In our HD video loop test, the smartphone went on for 17 hours and 39 minutes, which is a pretty good score. Charging time is acceptable given the big battery capacity and 18-watt fast charging support. The Redmi 9 Power got to 28% in 30 minutes and 44% in an hour. Charging the smartphone completely takes over 2 hours. Xiaomi has packed in a quad camera setup on the Redmi 9 Power, and you can see the specs on the screen right now. Daylight photos taken with the Redmi 9 Power were decent, and subjects nearby had good details. The dynamic range was acceptable for a smartphone at this price point. The wide-angle camera did not reproduce details as well as the primary camera. There was noticeable distortion at the edges as well. Close-up shots were average, and the main camera occasionally struggles to lock focus. Once it does though, you get a nice depth effect for the background. The macro camera lets you get close to a subject. It does manage sharp shots at close range, but like most other smartphones at this price level, the output is restricted to 2 megapixels. Portrait shots had good edge detection, and the Redmi 9 Power does let you simulate the aperture before taking the shot. Low light shots were below average, and the Redmi 9 Power failed to capture details in the shadows. You get a dedicated night mode in which it takes about 4 to 5 seconds to take a shot, so you'll need to be steady at this point. The output had better detail and also looked brighter compared to shots taken in the default photo mode. Selfies taken with the Redmi 9 Power in daylight were decent, and portrait selfies had decent edge detection. Low light selfies were average, and I could see grain in the output on zooming in. Video recording tops out at 1080p for the primary as well as the selfie shooter, but the Redmi 9 Power does not have video stabilization. Daylight as well as low light footage looked average, and the lack of stabilization could make it hard to capture usable shots while moving around. The Redmi 9 Power does two things differently. It has stereo speakers which enhance video and gaming on the device, and the big battery gives it a push in the right direction when it comes to battery life. Apart from this, it still feels like a typical Redmi smartphone delivering the same software experience. Camera performance is acceptable for the price, but it isn't great. If you find yourself in a market looking for a smartphone mainly for media consumption, the Redmi 9 Power makes a strong case. Other suitable alternatives are the Moto G9 and the Redmi 9 Prime. So coming to the questions that you guys have asked, the first one is from Anup, and he's asking that stereo speakers, UFS 2.2, fast charging with reverse charging at a low price. Do you think they could have used a better processor, or a Snapdragon 662 is good enough for the price? Well, Anup, I think that the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 is enough for the price because you do have the Moto G9 also using the same processor at that price. However, what I have noticed is that the Redmi 9 Prime, which uses a MediaTek processor, has got better benchmark scores. So that is something you need to keep in mind. The second question is from Vignesh. Now he's asking me to compare this device to the Redmi 9 Prime, as both of them come with a Full HD Plus display. Now I would say that in terms of the display panel, they are pretty much similar. You do have the Full HD Plus resolution like you said. This one has stereo speakers which make it better if you're going to be watching videos or playing games on this device. So that is one big advantage with the Redmi 9 Power. And also you have a bigger battery, which means that you can play a lot of games, even watch a lot of videos before you have to plug the Redmi 9 Power in, which is not the case with the Redmi 9 Prime. So these were some of the questions that you guys asked me about the Redmi 9 Power. If you still have them, put them in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. Well, see you in the next one.